5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Hey, so last time uh, Jackie met his best friend, and he was a ghost, and that ghost feeds off of emotions. And we played a concert, and him and the ghost sort of met up again and realized that the ghost was in the real world and not some alternate sort of darker dimension. And upon realizing that, the ghost led Jackie outside of the club in the back, where they happened upon a vampire who'd been regularly attending and feeding on people in the back alley. Jackie, being a defender, was naturally inclined to sort of charge in and deal with the vampire. And through some good rolls and some bad rolls on the vampire's part, a very helpful truck was able to smash the vampire into the ground, and Jackie burned him alive. Well, as much as can be expected.
Burned him undead.
Burned him further into undeath. And then we went back to my apartment where we kind of chilled the rest of that night, and we met up with our other comrade who can say what he was doing the day before for lunch, which leads us to this car chase where we are now. So what did you do yesterday, Mason?
Last episode, I guess, Mason, it opened with Mason at that construction site, confronted by, I believe his name was John Mullins.
Yes, John Mullins.
Who revealed himself as another hunter, a redeemer, in fact. And he managed to sort of tell Mason exactly what was going on, and sort of cooled him off from trying to engage into a brawl with some of the other rots that were there, sort of surrounding the unconscious body of one Drew. And after he sort of heard what they were doing, that they were sort of trying to give some of these ghosts second chances by using the recently deceased, not the still living, thankfully. Mason was somewhat more willing to accept that. And after Mason sort of told him about some of the recent activities within Gulfport, John sort of offered his assistance in sort of dealing with these rots. And what he was trying to do was hopefully talk some sense into them, redeem them, maybe run them through the Rise Up program. Mason then left with Drew, and after that was when he contacted Zephyr, and they set up to go meet lunch. And once they met lunch at one of the local Chinese cuisine places, the Golden Palace, obviously, and that was when Mason met Zephyr's rather peculiar friend, where he sort of got the hairs on the back of his neck sort of rose up when he sort of sensed something was a bit off about him. And you relayed to him that he was a ghost. And then I think we all sort of put our stuff on the table about what happened recently and what went down and whatnot. And Mason then said that he had to go do a job for AEC, some sort of protection work where Zephyr would be acting as his backup, a little bit off or out of sight, rather than actually being officially part of this mission. And as we sort of started doing it, the guy that we were supposed to protect was some AEC corporate stooge named Forrest Scott. Mason sort of got into a car, acting as a bit of a chauffeur. Zephyr using Mason's car to sort of shadow them, and that's when things took a turn for the worse. And someone tried to sort of drive Mason off the road. Thankfully, with some skillful maneuvering and driving, Zephyr managed to block off the path towards Mason, helping him sort of get away, or at least we hope.
We're in the middle of a high-speed chase.
Well, I believe it ended specifically with the thing coming out of the car.
What happened was Mason managed to get to the rendezvous point where he was going to drop off the AEC executive, and with a bit of fancy maneuvering, Zephyr was able to maneuver Mason's car in such a way where the Rot could not proceed any further. So then the Rot, in his frustration, got out of the car, and that is where we left off. A couple of things I just want to refresh my memory. Foster, where did we leave him?
He's getting info, right?
That's what I want to. That's what I want to say. Is he was going to gather intel? Was he going to sort of ask the ghosts of the neighborhood what the good word was? Is that what he was going to do?
I think he was tapping into some of his supernatural contacts that he met. Yeah.
Okay. Drew is sort of recovering from his harrowing experience at the Habitat for Humanity that Rise Up was running. And as for Mullen's offer, if I'm not mistaken, Mason kind of refused it.
Mason just didn't accept it when he left, as far as I remember. He didn't like out flat me, fuck no. He just, the guy said, like, if you find any more information, you can contact me. And Mason just sort of shrugged. And then he sort of made his way.
Right. Before we get into the action here, how does Mason feel about Rise Up based on the information that he has?
Based on the information he has, he would definitely find it a bit disquieting what they're doing with the bodies and trying to sort of rehabilitate some ghosts. He's very much of the mind, if they're dead, they should sort of move on. They shouldn't be tethering themselves to the world.
Okay. And now you relayed what they're doing, what they're actually doing at Rise Up. You relayed this to Zephyr and Foster at lunch, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I would have relayed pretty much, everything that sort of went down.
Okay. So how would Zephyr feel about that whole situation based on the information he has?
Probably be conflicted. I mean, similar mind to Mason originally, but the conversation changes a little bit when I show up with my dead best friend ghost. I probably have a lot more sympathy and empathy towards trying to help out, regardless of their current, life status.
Okay. All right. Good things for me to know. Thank you. All right, we come back. So, Zephyr, your heart is racing a mile a minute. The smoke from the burnt rubber are rising up around the car. Cars are honking. People are screaming. People are also running away on the sidewalk. And you're a little bit jittery. Thankfully, you dealt very little damage to the car, and there's no damage to yourself. However, the very first thing you see when you look up is the red car's door, driver's side door opening, and out walks a Rot. And no, I don't think you guys deployed second sight. Last session, you had not.
I did last session in the concert, but not today. No.
Okay. Let's just say, when the guy gets out, he's not making much of an effort to disguise himself. And at this point, you feel like you've seen enough weird shit to know, yeah, that guy's not normal without deploying your second sight. and he is pissed. He reaches into the car, and he pulls out a 12-gauge shotgun.
Oh.
And he starts marching towards your side of the car. And now we are going to roll initiative. So you'll just give me, basically it's wits plus dexterity plus a d10. So just add 5 to a d10 roll.
Okay, so basic rolls, D10. I need to roll 5. Oh, whoops.
Oh, forget what I didn't realize that would just automatically. Forget those last 2 rolls that I'm in. Okay, so you rolled and you made a 10?
Well, you need me to roll wits plus dex plus 1d10, right?
Okay, so in that left menu on Roll20, the one with the dice roller?
Yeah, I have it pulled up. You need me to roll 6d10. I have 3 and
you just add those 2 numbers to your roll.
Basically, it's
okay.
On the advanced roll thing, it should be 1d10 plus 6 for you, I guess.
Plus 5, 3 in
Plus
wits,
5?
2 in dex.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's try this again. Roll. Okay, I rolled a 9. Oh,
okay.
Sorry, I rolled a 4 plus 5 equals 9.
Sure. Roll again.
All right. There we go. 13.
Nice. You got
okay.
Oh, man. Neck and neck.
Oh no.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Lower one. Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, smoke me. Okay.
Okay. He walks up to the car and he puts his hand on the driver's side door handle. He yanks it open. He puts the shotgun. He points the shotgun towards you. He says, "Get the fuck out of the car! Get out of the car, man, right now!"
Okay, I'll kind of like start to lift my hands up like I'm complying. Hey, whoa, I'm sorry. And I'd like to use ward.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. It's your zeal plus I forget.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the roll here.
I've done this so many times you'd think I'd have it like memorized at this point.
Ward.
Stamina plus zeal.
Yep. Stamina plus zeal. Okay. 2, 3, 5. Yeah, sure.
Oh, and if you want, you can risk conviction.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Do I roll on a? Is it 7?
So, what's your stamina?
I have 3 stamina and 2 in zeal.
So that's a 5. So if you risk, say, 1 conviction, your dice pool would be increased to 6.
Right. I'm trying to see if the target number is 7 per ward.
I'm pretty sure it's just no. You know what it is? It's versus the monster's stamina, if I'm not quite mistaken.
Okay. So I'll just make my roll.
The number of successes achieved must be exceeded in a stamina roll for each monster to approach your character.
The DC is 6, though.
Yes, the DC is 6. Yes.
All right. What did we get here? We got 1. Oof.
Okay. So you risked 1 conviction?
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so it's pushed back in yards equal to your zeal. I want to say.
trying to find it. Visionary.
The distance that creatures are held at bay is 1 yard and radius for each point of zeal your character possesses.
Right.
A monster already within that area, when his power is activated, receives a stamina roll immediately.
So he's knocked back 2 yards because I have 2 points.
Yeah, that's what I'm. It staggers back to the perimeter. That's what I'm looking at here. Okay, so now, right now, mechanically, I think Roll20 is recognizing each square on the grid as like 5 feet, and I need to mess with that. But
Okay.
Pretend that each square is a yard.
Sure.
So so he's over here now.
And so I don't have to concentrate to cast ward. I can still fight and do other actions. Can I try to drive away hurriedly?
Wait, so ward is a reflexive action?
Yes.
Well, since he got the drop on you and all he did was walk over and open a door and speak, like he's still got an action left.
Okay.
And he's definitely going to take a shot, in surprise, if nothing else.
Okay.
So, a sec here.
I'll allow it.
But difficulty is going to be increased because he's being pushed back. So. Okay. So he fires wildly, but being pushed back, his aim is very much off, and he ends up shooting out the tire of the red car that he was driving.
Nice.
Yes. So now you've got a minute to take a turn here.
Yes. Now I would definitely like to slam on the gas and keep careening down this alleyway here.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of a. It's a little weird how you're positioned, so your difficulty is going to go up to 7.
Okay. What would you like with drive?
I'm sorry, a dex drive, please.
Okay. Dex drive.
What the heck happened to my other? I didn't import them into this one. Gotta do
that. Can I spend one of my destiny rerolls to try driving again?
I'll allow it. It's kind of a life or death situation.
7, drive 2. Come on, baby. Yes, 3 successes.
Nice.
Okay. You managed to get, let's say, you managed to get 3 car lengths away from him, so let's put you up here.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess you'd, be here.
All right. Is Mason, are you still driving or did you make it there? Because you were still kind of, you're that black car last time we stopped.
Yeah.
Mason, you made it to basically the front entrance. I'll even say that you made it into the parking garage.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have called the number, the emergency number that Gary Sims gave you in case something like this happened. And a team of armed guards rushes out to meet your car in the parking garage. They immediately check on your cargo, the passenger,
Mm-hmm.
and they rush him to safety. Someone asks if you're all right.
Just give a nod. I'm
Yeah.
still looking over my shoulder, like wondering when the rot's gonna be striding on in like a Terminator.
Right. They ask you to come with them.
My job was it just to get the guy there, or just
It was to get the guy there, and then also to get him back home safely.
All right, yeah, Mason's gonna be a bit hesitant because Zephyr is still out there, but he will sort of follow along behind the guys.
Okay. Let me see something.
Because from what he heard last time, Zephyr took on a vampire. He kicked its ass. He's not too worried about him.
Okay. Yeah. Hang on.
What backgrounds do you have, Mason?
Backgrounds. I have Iron Willed. That just pretty much, my wound penalties or whatever sort of don't happen until later.
Okay.
I have Berserk, which gives me more like dots and like strength or punching, depending on what sets me off. And that's usually going after his family. I have an animal companion. I got my big old pit bull named Hulk. I got an arsenal one time that I got some dots of resources from AEC now. I also have Roots, which is my family, and then we all have allies. Thomas from the priest.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I am just looking up something real quick. And
Sure, take your time.
Yeah, I heard. Well, I didn't hear. I just got a text saying I have to be at the place at 7:30, and it's 5:30 now. So I'll probably leave at 6:30 in like an hour.
So you leave in an hour? Okay, that's fine.
I'll leave in like an hour, hour and a half.
That's fine. 20 plus 3 times dexterity.
Oh, don't forget to add the extra conviction point since you risked it and got it.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Boom.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like, I couldn't believe. Like, I thought because you only got the one success for it.
Yeah,
and I thought for sure.
it.
Yeah, thought that was gonna botch for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I will definitely need to redo these. Yeah, the squares and how much distance they cover, but Zephyr, you while you're driving away, do you do anything else? Like, do you try to text Mason or anything?
I wasn't thinking about it at the time, so probably
mainly you're
not.
just driving away.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to your horror, you find that the rot is sprinting after you.
Oh.
Kind of like the T-1000.
Okay.
After they bring Sarah Connor out of the mental asylum.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, he is gunning it. And he doesn't have to worry about like the narrow road as much as you do, because he's much more narrow than your car. But yeah, it is very clear that he is running unnaturally fast. So and he's still got that shotgun in his hands, but it's your turn now.
Okay. Mason texted me the address of where he was going, right?
He did.
So I know that at the intersection, well, the second one, he would have turned right. Okay, well, I don't think I'll make it there anyway. So for this turn, I'd like to continue driving straight, and I'd like to try to look around the car or pull it out of my jacket, my phone, and try to. I don't think I'd give them a call while I'm trying to swerve my car around. No, I just want to keep driving straight. If I make it to the intersection, I'd like to turn left.
Okay.
But I just want to keep driving straight.
1 second.
You gave me a pistol, right, Mason?
Uh,
I think at some point I got a pistol from somebody.
well, I disposed of the cops' pistols because we didn't want that sort of heat on us, and sort of after
What
our
guns
last,
are in your car?
they're usually in the back seat,
Okay.
not the back seat, the trunk, in that little sort of hidden compartment where you usually put a sort of
Oh, right.
spare tire. But I think you guys sort of removed that after, you know, the cops sort of dragged Mason away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just I'll keep driving.
Just keep driving, and you want to make a left up in the following intersection?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's all you're going to do, that's not really going to require a roll.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to take the limousine, or, you know, the company car that Mason was driving off of the board, because it's pulled into the thing and you're in the car, and it wouldn't really be much of a stretch of the imagination. So you're like here now?
Okay.
Okay. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
You pull up safely. You see the rod is continuing to sprint. You're definitely, you know, putting distance between you and him.
Okay.
In another second or so, he will be out of sight. And he's not running down the street. He's running on the sidewalk. He's still got a shotgun in his hand, so any bystanders that were left are frantically trying to get out of this dude's way. So.
Is it really busy, the street or the sidewalk?
Well, it's like, I want to say 4:30, somewhere between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. So people are getting out of work. People are walking around,
Okay.
you know, getting food. So yeah, it's actually fairly busy.
Okay.
But he's just about out of your line of sight, and he will be if you continue to drive this way. So your move.
Is the street I'm on filled with cars? Or
Oh, yeah. Good point. That is a good point. Roll. No, I'll just make a quick roll here.
Oh.
Nope. It's actually fairly light. So yeah, there are cars.
Okay.
But you know, you can maneuver around them pretty easily.
Okay. I want to continue down the road here, but I want to make sure that at the intersection he either stops or he follows me and doesn't head off to the right. So I guess once I get past the little intersection, like coming up here, I'll sort of slow down and just be looking in my rear view mirror to make sure he keeps chasing me or not.
Okay, so you should be able to move the Mason's car token now.
Got it.
Show me where you want to. You want to move it right there?
Somewhere here.
Okay, so enough of a distance. And are you just going to sort of pull into a parallel parking spot there, or?
No. I want to keep him chasing me and not heading off to follow Mason. Because I'm in a car. I can, like, my thinking is I can keep him chasing me, and that's fine. But I don't want him to leave me and run off to find Mason.
Okay. Well, you will unfortunately not get your wish, because you see, as he sort of rounds that corner, he sees you and then starts after you a little bit, but then it's like he's pulled back by something, and he like looks around kind of confused, and then he puts both feet back on the ground, and he turns completely toward the direction that Mason drove off in, and then he starts sprinting down that direction.
Okay. My turn?
Yes.
Can I fishtail my car? And then
what you mean, like just Tokyo drift it? Like crazy ass Yui?
Yeah.
Give me a dex drive.
Okay. I want to I'll spend a willpower on this.
Yeah. Well, the car is pretty maneuverable and the traffic's pretty light, so the difficulty is going to be 5. So you don't have to spend willpower if you don't want to. It's up to you.
Okay, with the difficulty 5, I won't.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Yep. So let's say you manage to get
flip my car
right around here.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Rot disappears into the parking garage.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to follow him.
Well, is the map of the city accurate? Like,
that's a good point. Let me see.
All right.
Let me see if I can find a parking garage map in Roll20. Probably not, because Roll20 is all about D&D and medieval fantasy. And yeah, we've got 1 million feudal farms, but no parking garages, because fuck people who like modern fantasy. Sorry. A little bit bitter. Probably tell.
They probably got them in the premium shop. Drop that money.
That's what I'm looking for. Building ruins. Come on. Come on. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a... that work? No. All these... it never even occurred to me that a parking garage would be a thing we'd need. That should have, too. I'm a little disappointed in myself. And so... because I don't have a parking garage map, I'll do the next best thing. Just give us an image.
As I'm like, if the parking garage isn't connected to the building Mason's in, then I'm cool just sitting outside of the parking garage. Like, I don't see the need to follow and chase after a rot with a shotgun.
No, but what I'm saying is, yes, that parking garage is the very same parking garage that Mason drove off into.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That changes things.
You can, of course, if you so choose, you can, you can text Mason before you head into the
Oh,
park.
and since I did want him as my backup, I probably would have given him one of my guns.
Yeah. I'm not disputing that.
Okay, so yeah, if you wanted a gun, Zephyr, yeah, Mason would have more than been happy to provide you a gun.
Okay, do you guys see that parking garage?
Yeah.
Let's just, in our imagination, that's where we are.
What, we must use our imaginations in the tabletop role playing game?
I know, it's crazy. I get it, but that's what we have to do. That's what we have to resort to. Okay, so what do we do now?
I want to... Let me give Mason a call.
Sure.
Wherever I am. Have we left the parking garage, going into the actual building?
Yeah, you're sort of they ask you to stand inside of a. They gather your cargo and a bunch of other suits into a boardroom. You and two other armed guards are standing close to the entrance. They have drawn their weapons, and so you probably feel obliged to do the same. And they
I bring my brass knuckles, which might seem odd to them.
They explain that, we've got a team in the parking garage ready to deal with anybody suspicious that comes in. And obviously, anybody would need a badge to get in. So we've got a team already set to meet them, but just in case somebody does happen to breach the perimeter, there's the three of us to deal with anybody who comes around.
All right.
Let's see.
I'll take a moment to sort of text Zephyr that there are, there's a team of, trained killers pretty much in the parking garage looking for suspicious people. So don't act shady if you do go in there.
We're texting, right?
Well, yeah. I wouldn't want to sort of draw too much attention to myself.
Okay. I would reply, you got company is what I'll reply, but then I won't feel the need to drive in the parking garage. They'll probably be able to handle it, but I'll text them, you got company.
Mason, text back a KJ because he accidentally hit the J button. He's still getting used to typing or texting and send that.
So Mason knows enough that like KK is in the sort of digital vernacular, but that's just funny to me. Okay. So Zephyr, you're choosing to hold off. You're not going into the parking garage?
Yeah, I won't go into the parking garage.
Okay, so do you sort of save okay. Do you sort of hold back and park somewhere, or?
Yeah, sure, if there's like spots, this says loading only, but if there's spots like on the side of the street here, I'll just chill there.
Okay. This is so silly.
Might be easier to just zoom out completely when you're resizing stuff.
Yeah. All right. Yay. We're in a place now. So if I have to add tokens, I will. All right, so Zephyr has parked. And then Mason gets the text that you've got company. Mason, you wait for a few seconds, and then you hear chatter over the radio. And you hear someone say over the radio, "Okay, yeah, all right, hang on, might have something here. Might have. Oh God, look! Oh, he's got a gun! He's got a gun!" And you hear like crashes and what sounds like a lot of gunfire. And then the channel goes silent for a minute, and he says, and then after a moment, a very tense moment, and the exec, you happen to glance over your shoulder at the execs, who are also listening in, and they're sort of, they look like they're pissing themselves. But then after a moment, you hear over the intercom or the walkie-talkie, "Subject is down, retrieving now." And there's a very brief exclamation where they say, like, "Wait, he's getting back up, and there's more gunfire. And then there's another tense moment, and they're like, "Somebody get that goddamn gun out of his hands!" And there's commotion, there's people talking over each other. And he's like, "Jesus Christ, he's still moving!" He's like, "He's too fucked up to make a difference now. Just grab him. Put him in cuffs. Bag over his head. Now. Go. There's another tense moment over the walkie-talkie of silence. And then you specifically are asked to join the other security guards in another part of the building.
With Mr. Scott or without him?
No, Mr. Scott is fine where he is. There will be a couple of people to come in to relieve you, but they want you, I guess your expertise or whatever, to help them now.
Well, all right then. Yeah, go wherever they tell me to.
All right. Do you tell Zephyr?
And text him on the move, and it seems like they got him.
Okay. I'll reply, KK.
But you're not going to do anything else yet, Zephyr?
No, I'm not going to move or do anything else.
Okay. So, Mason, you are led down a very empty corridor. You get the sense that a lot of people have already left for the day, but you see a couple of faces peering out windows of closed conference rooms. People are obviously curious, but they are, one by one, security guards peel off from your larger pack and they go into the conference room, and you don't hear all of what they say to the people in the conference rooms, but it very much sounds like a company line, like, "There's nothing to worry about, folks. It's just a minor situation that we have under control. We're going to all wait here for a few minutes," and, it sort of fades out after that.
And
then you were brought to... I really feel stupid about making that fucking... You don't know how or why they have an interrogation room, but that's absolutely what it looks like, complete with a two-way mirror in the office building for an oil company. But here it is. And they have an incredibly... I mean, he looks like he's been through... what's that thing? Wood chipper. Looks like he's been through whichever. This guy is bleeding. You know, parts are sort of hanging off him. Miraculously, his head is still intact, but he is still struggling insofar as the tattered remains of his frame are allowing him to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just looks very violent, and he's struggling. He's been put into restraints into this metal chair, and he's just violently snapping back and forth. He's swearing up a storm. He's just cursing at the top of his lungs and screaming. And you notice that one of his hands is missing. And yeah, so one of the armed guards brings you aside and says, like, I'm told you know more about these things than anyone else here. So basically, I've been authorized to allow you to lead this interrogation. Then Gary Sims pipes up in your little earpiece. He says, "All right, Mason, it's me, Gary. Now, I've got some questions that I'd like you to ask him, but you know, just work them into however you normally do this."
Nothing normal about this. Man, I'm a mechanic. I'm not a fucking interrogator.
Yeah. You normally carry a switchblade, don't you?
I usually carry a Swiss Army knife because I work with my hands and do all mechanic stuff.
Okay. Well, you've got that on you. I mean, the guy is pretty beat up, but for you to do the kind of damage that counts against something like this, you know that you would need to use cleave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give me. Well, no, you would just remember. You also remember that the last thing that you fought that was like this guy was able to regenerate on some level. So
Right.
just bear that in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that was pretty quick too.
Yeah. What edges do you have besides cleave?
My edge is trail, cleave, and foresee. So I think the best use of interrogating this guy is just setting him free, so I can trail him back to his lair where all the other routes are.
That's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, because I'm not exactly a social character.
Yeah. So, all right, they sit you down in front of him, and he's just growling. There are guys posted at the two entrances.
Mm-hmm.
So if this dude gets up, they'll come in to assist you.
Yeah.
And there's the two-way mirror right behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary's like, all right, go ahead. Say whatever you want to say to him.
You ain't got any questions, Anita? I thought you said you got some questions I should be asking.
Yeah, but you just we'll work that in subtly.
Build up rapport.
Sorry?
We want me to build up rapport?
Yeah, exactly.
All right then. Then Mason will head on in, and at the door he'll sort of stop, just take a good hard look at the guy who pretty much looks like he's been run through the wood chipper, and then close the door behind him. And he'll walk around the table and then sort of sit on the edge, fold his arms over his chest as he sees the guy struggling. And he'll say, "Well, don't you look like shit?"
Fuck you!
Yeah, I get that a lot.
You'll never stop me. You'll never stop us. We're gonna get them, you know. We're gonna get all of them. They're gonna pay.
Yep. I'm sure they will. Why don't you tell me a bit more about that?
What do you want to know? You're their lackey. I'm sure you already know.
Oh, I know a little bit about what's going on. I don't know too much though, but it'd be nice to know a bit more. I mean, you
And
obviously.
then Gary Sims comes over the line and says, Mason, let's steer away from that subject. Actually, let's focus more on what their plan is and where his associates are, and maybe how many of them are there.
All right, yeah. Mason will pause and then say, all right, let's back up for a moment. We haven't done some proper introductions. Name's Mason. What about you?
I'm the guy who's going to kill you and him. And he looks at the one guy on the one entrance and him and the other guy on the other entrance. And all you AEC fucks who killed me and my friends. You bastards are all going to pay.
Uh-huh. You and your friends. Gonna kill the whole lot of them, aren't you?
He just looks at you with glaring hatred.
Yep. Yeah. So as he looks at me, I'll just sort of like pat his shoulder, and I'm going to get the trail.
Right. So you're gonna use trail on him?
Yeah, just get it right from the get go in case he regenerates and has enough strength to make a break for it, which it could happen.
Right on.
It's page 164 of the PDF.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
All your characters touch something. It's a perception plus 0 d6.
And it's usually only perceptible to the hunter who places it. Now, other hunters can use it with the use of certain other edges.
Yeah, I got it.
A trail can neither be touched or felt. Can't be dissipated by wind, by being walked through. A creature or person being followed cannot see trail unless it specifically possesses preternatural perceptions at my discretion. And I'm going to say, probably not.
What was that?
He probably doesn't have any way to detect what you're doing.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah, go ahead and make your roll.
I will risk some conviction. How does it long? How much does it long? Lasts, I think, hours, or against conviction lasts for days.
Difficulty 6. The trail lasts 60 hours for each success achieved. If a point of conviction is spent, it can be measured in days. Yeah, so if it's spent, not risked.
Right. So I'm going to risk conviction to, make it better. Because I only have 4 dice usually. I will risk 4 conviction.
You're going to risk 4 conviction?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that should last me 18 hours?
18 hours, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And then after
Go ahead.
Oh, after he sort of pats, he'll sort of realize that his hand is sort of slick with blood and just awkwardly like smear it onto the table to get it off with a little, ill face.
He says to you, you can do whatever you want to me. You can't stop all of us. Sooner or later, might not be today, might not be next week, might not even be next year, but one day we are going to kill you all. This whole fucking thing is going to come toppling down around your heads. There's not a goddamn thing you can do to stop it.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't know. I've been pretty good at sort of picking off a couple of your friends. I don't know how many more I got to deal with. I'm sure I can get all of you eventually.
You won't even see us coming. You don't know how many of us there are, and you don't know what we look like.
Oh, well, I know there are probably at least 50 of you fuckers, so there's that at least.
Did they even tell you what they did to us, or is that above your pay grade? Did they tell you how they rounded us all up in that room? How they made a deal with those freaks for our souls? Did they tell you how they took out those knives? And at this point, Gary comes in over your intercom and says, like, okay, that's enough. And like a shriek sounds out over the PA, and it is loud. And the guys on each door like kind of hold their ears because it's like a fire alarm. Like, yeah, basically Sims tripped the fire alarm. And roll a willpower, difficulty 6 to see if you resist. To see if it how badly it affects you, if at all.
4.
Okay, so it's really annoying, but and you can't really hear anything. Perception alertness roll, difficulty 8.
58. It's only 3. Oh my god, I got one.
The rot looks one way and it looks another, and it looks at you, and then it kind of smiles, and you can just barely hear it kind of bark one sharp, like, ha, and he shouts, and you can barely hear him over the din. They don't want you to know. And then you see the guards at either end of the room kind of put their fingers to their earpieces.
Mm-hmm.
And then each one of them comes in and grabs the thing and then moves it out of the room. So you don't know where they're taking it, but if you want to track it and if you want to tell Sims about your plan, you're going to have to let him know probably pretty quickly. They take it out of the room, and then after a few seconds, and they don't tell you to do anything specifically, after a few seconds, the fire alarm goes off.
Yeah, I'm gonna be trying to follow the rot, and them sort of, leading it off, and I'm gonna be sort of, shouting into, my earpiece, Gary, what the fuck was that?
It's like, we clearly weren't going to get any useful information out of him. We're just going to have to dispose of it. And if you follow the rot, you'll see that they'll have put like a black bag over its head. And they're heading down like a very kind of dark corridor, a narrow one with like not many doors, if any, on the sides.
Yeah, Mason's gonna still continue, talking to his earpiece. All right, listen, man, I don't know what the fuck you AEC guys are doing, but I got a plan. I can track that thing if he goes back to his friends. And you killing him ain't gonna do shit. We just be back to square one.
A few seconds go by. The guards continue to march the rot down the corridor, and then after a second they pause, and they sort of look back at you, and then there's some silence over your earpiece, and then you hear Sims come back over the earpiece and say, okay, meet me back in that room, and then explain to me your plan.
All right, fine. Just don't go killing that fucking rot. Otherwise, the whole thing's gonna be going up in smoke.
So you go back to the room?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go back after a few seconds. Gary meets you in there. And he says, you can track it. You're sure?
Hell yeah, I'm fucking sure. And my arms are crossed. He doesn't really like all this now.
Okay. If it's working closely with all of its comrades and they're not all shacked up in different places, then it's likely that he'd go to them, especially since he's wounded. All right. I mean, it's worth a shot. How exactly, I mean, what do we do? Just drop him off somewhere and hope he leads us back to him?
Oh man, fuck that. Just you know, I mean, they're pretty fucking tough. You know, you put them down for 1 second, they come back, jump back up next. So I say we sort of, you know, try to make it look like we're going to execute him somewhere. And when he sort of, you know, pops back up a little bit later after we're gone, then we can track him.
If he's going to pop back up. You mean he's going to?
Well, you heard over the radios, right? You know, when they thought that he was down, then he came back up, jumped up all of a sudden. Like I said, these things are fucking tough. They don't get put down too easily.
Okay,
All we gotta do is just put him down for a little bit, make it seem like, you know, we thought we were done with the, you know, cleanup, the execution. And when he comes to again, you know, we're already sort of hightailing it out of there, thinking, you know, we already washed our hands and hit away with him.
But your plan is to drop him off in an isolated location.
Yeah, you know, somewhere where we could dispose of the body, if you will.
Got it.
And then, you know, or I follow him, you know, to wherever his lair is with him and his buddies.
All right. Now, you're planning to. You think he'll lead us back to him? How long do you think it'll take for him to get there?
I don't know. If he's on foot, maybe a couple hours. If he steals a car or some shit, maybe just half an hour.
All right.
Hold on. Before, you know, we go on through with this, he was saying some pretty interesting shit. You got any care to sort of elaborate on any of that?
I'm not at liberty to discuss things of that nature with you, Mason, and if I had to be frank with you, I'd ask, who are you going to believe? The person cutting your paycheck and keeping you out of jail, or the murderous zombie? He then straightens his tie and says, I have to speak to my superior. In a few moments, we will turn this gentleman loose, and we will afford you a position from which you can survey him, and then you and a team will follow him back to his comrades. If you'll excuse me. And then he walks off. Let's say a half hour passes. Yeah. Do you want to do anything in that half hour? Text Zephyr or anything?
Yeah, I'll text Zephyr and sort of say AEC is a lot shadier than we probably thought, and sort of some of the details of, you know, what Mason plans to do.
Okay. I text back. Can't say I'm surprised. What do you need me to do? Question mark.
I'm trying to think. Mason will sort of reply back, you know, see if he can shake off the AEC team and, you know, try to work alone. That way they can meet up and maybe track down the rot himself, get some, you know, see if they can get some answers to their questions rather than just exterminating them all, because he does not like AEC and where this is heading. If the rot is speaking the truth, of course.
Remember, no one can see the trail but you
Yes.
or any other hunter that uses witness, illuminate, or discern.
Yeah.
So
The main thing is that Mason wants, because the guy Reed said, or Gary said that he wanted to equip or sort of pair me with a team,
of
and
course.
Mason would Mason's essentially trying to say, just let me track him alone. I'll do it. I'll find him, and then I'll call in your team.
I'm going to tell you right now, just to save you some time, there's no way in hell he'll ever sign off on that. But what I will tell you is you are the only one who can track this thing. So if your goal is to sort of separate yourself from the rest of the team, you can lie about, like you can follow the trail that the rot leaves up to a point, and then you can lie to your team and say like, oh, I lost him. He gave me the slip.
I'll probably do that.
Yeah. Okay. Jad, how much time you got left with us, man?
I'll probably start getting ready to head out in like 15, 20, 25 minutes.
Okay. All right, yeah. You guys quick make a plan of how you're gonna do this, because basically Mason is going to be in the passenger seat of one of the company cars, probably an SUV, and it's going to be him and like 5 armed guards. So he's going to navigate, and they're going to follow wherever he tells them to go. And then you need to figure out like what story you're going to tell them, and then you're going to like tell Zephyr when to meet up with you. So yeah, Zephyr is still in Mason's car. Mason is told to proceed back to the parking garage. And when you get there, there's a team of armed guards there with an SUV, and they escort you into the passenger side. And they drive out for a while. And after about half an hour, you make it to the beach. Or rather, they drive up onto a bluff, and you can see the beach from there. And they... And after what seems like a long time waiting, the sun finally starts to go down. And it's kind of the colder months right now. So there's not really a lot of people at the beach.
Yeah.
So there's no one at the beach. The sun is starting to go down. And then all of a sudden you can see another SUV drive up in front of you. They park. A few guys get out. They open the back doors. They grab something from inside, and then after a few minutes, it becomes very clear, or after a few seconds, it becomes very clear that it is the rot from before, still with the bag over its head, and still with the restraints. And it's walking a bit easier now, and it's struggling more effectively because it's going back and forth, trying to get out. And you can tell, even from this distance, oh, it's healed itself a little bit already.
Yeah.
And so The entire team of armed guards gets out, and they walk this rot to the edge of the shore, and they take out what looks like a bunch of sticks, and they just start wailing on this dude. And they beat him for, it has to be like 5 minutes straight, which doesn't sound like a lot, but like once you see a guy get beaten for, even 10 seconds, like it's ugly. And then when it just keeps going on and on and on and on. So by the time they're done, like he is a pulp. There's like no other way to describe it. And by the way, as they, lead him out at this entire time that it's going on, from your chest, a wisp of smoke emerges, seems to go through the windshield and goes all the way down to the shore, where it sort of surrounds the rot. So you can see the trail already. So yeah, just this long session of like beating this guy, and then you see a few of them get like, like they reach into their coat pockets and they pull something small out. You can't really tell what it is, but they kneel next to the body and they start bringing down their fists onto the guy. And then it becomes clear to you, oh, it's knives. They've got some like knives that they're going the extra mile and they're stabbing the guy.
Yeah, Mason, he looks pretty disgusted by all of this. A bar fight and a fight, that's one thing. This is just a one-sided beating and massacre. It's like, ugh.
Yeah. But after a while, one of them stands up and seems to put his finger to his ear, and then he holds up his hand and it stops. And then they all just sort of walk into they remove the bag and the restraints, and they walk in back into the SUV, which drives away. And then the driver of your van looks at you and says, I'm told these things tend to get back up unless you dispose of them properly.
Yeah, so get ready to sit in for an hour or two.
Okay. It takes a minute. By a minute, I mean like, yeah, it takes a good half hour. But and still, no one has come by. You don't expect anyone will. But you see Twitch, and then you see one of its arms sort of spasm outward.
Yeah, still watching. Still
waiting for it and it like puts its hand flat on the sand, and then the other arm does much the same thing, like sort of flails around in the air for a little bit, and then it sort of very, very choppily straightens itself out.
Mm-hmm.
You imagine this would be a much more sickening sight up close.
Yeah.
And it puts that hand down on the shore. You're hidden by like bushes and foliage and stuff, by the way, so it wouldn't notice you from this distance.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a few more minutes of like, it just sort of like shuffling and sort of vibrating and everything, it pulls itself up to its knees. So now it's kneeling with its head down, and then it sort of snaps its back up, so its head is up, and its arms are sort of dangling by its sides. And then a few more minutes go by, and one leg slides out from under it, and the foot goes on the ground. And then another foot goes on the ground, and eventually it stands. And the guys in the truck are like looking, with their night vision goggles and stuff, and they're like, Jesus fucking Christ, that's insane. How the fuck can anybody do that? And the squad leader, your driver, was like, it's not our concern, boys. Okay, so eventually this fucker's gonna get moving, and we're gonna trail it. Now, obviously, we can't get too close to it, or else it'll catch on and lead us astray. But he looks at you. But you can follow it, even once it's out of eyesight, out of line of sight.
Yeah. At least pretty sure I can. Still, a bit new to all this, but yeah, shouldn't have to worry too much.
Are you trying to fool him
There's
now?
still some doubt.
Yeah. Give me a. Hang on. Let me see. What is your? What's your manipulation subterfuge?
My manipulation is 3, subterfuge is 0.
Okay, give me just a manipulation roll then.
Cool. Can I use 4C in order to get an extra roll potentially?
Sure.
Alrighty. And the way that works is, I think Zephyr, you have it right. Do you remember what the roll is for it? Intelligence plus vision.
I can pull it up for 4C. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's scrolling.
Okay, yeah, it's intelligence plus vision, difficulty 7. So that'd be 4 for me. Would this count as a new scene to risk conviction?
Yeah.
Alrighty. I will risk. Let's see, I have 4 normally, so I'll risk just 3 to boost it up to 7. So, dice 7. Let's see. 0. So I lose conviction.
Great. So, yep. Just go ahead and make a manipulation roll.
Alrighty. I will spend a point of willpower though for this.
That's fine. Difficulty 6, by the way.
Okay. So that would be 1 success.
Yeah, good thing. He just eyes you and says, like, it better work. They're paying you to track this thing and destroy it. And then he doesn't say anything else after that, and he goes back to just watching it. And at this point, it has begun staggering from the shore toward the road. And this is one of those places on the beach that's really isolated. There's like no buses nearby or anything. If it had a phone, it surely would have been confiscated. So you also notice, oddly, as it makes it to the road and just starts. It starts turning around as if trying to get its bearings, and then it starts walking due north. You also notice that it's now got both of its hands back. Yeah. How the fuck that works, who knows? All right, so it's walking north, and then it takes a while for it to get out of sight, but it is heading along. It is heading along the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So your squad leader says, "All right, we'll give it half an hour," and he looks at you and shrugs, like half an hour before we start following it.
Sure, that works.
Okay. So half an hour goes by. Or while you wait for that half hour, what is Zephyr doing at the moment?
He told me to be inconspicuous and not draw attention to AEC, or sorry, to myself from AEC. So honestly, I'd probably just head back to my apartment.
Okay. So are you just sort of like waiting by the phone from
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably browse HunterNet or just continue doing whatever it is I'm doing in a day, practicing or just walking around the town or hanging out with Foster if he ever comes back. But
do you make any posts to HunterNet?
No. The vampire thing, he didn't tell me any info, and I don't know how internet would react to me saying that I have a friendly ghost. So I probably wouldn't post anything.
1 second, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, let's go back to I asked you, do you make any posts? And you responded no, and because
I was just saying because the vampire didn't really give me any info of like a haven or anything, and I'm not sure how the hunters would respond to me saying I have a friendly ghost. So I probably wouldn't just make a post.
okay, roll roll intelligence research.
Okay. I don't have any dots in research.
Just roll intelligence.
Okay.
What were you going to say? Like, do you have roll in dots in computer?
Yeah, I have 1 dot in computer.
Yeah, go ahead and give me an intelligence computer. Okay. Difficulty 6. Ooh. Okay, you do know that from browsing on HunterNet, there are different camps amongst the hunters, both locally and internationally. Everybody has their different takes. There's hunters who believe, without question, all supernatural creatures must be destroyed. There are those who believe that supernatural creatures are just like us and that they should be treated as such. Some are innocent and some are guilty, and we must take each one on a case-by-case basis. And there are those who think that they are all lost souls that need to be redeemed or saved or helped in some way. So yes, it's completely up to you whether you post or not, but I just want you to go into it, your decision, knowing that there are people who will disagree with you, there are people who agree with you, and there are people who, won't care one way or the other. They'll say, it's up to you, man. We can't hunt for you.
Yeah, I'd still wait until Foster came back.
That's fine. Because he does.
Okay.
And he just sort of like you notice that the lights flicker a little bit.
Before,
Go ahead.
unless it's really short, before we go into that, would it be cool if I dip out here and we pick up the Foster thing later, or is it just like really quick?
Well, I can leave off with this.
Okay.
Basically, he'll come back and he'll say, you guys have kind of worked out this system where when your lights flicker, that's his way of sort of ringing the doorbell. Because he doesn't use doors, and he doesn't want to just like pop into your apartment and scare the shit out of you every time he comes over.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so it's his way of like sort of like, hey, I'm here. So he comes to the door and he says, hey man, is your buddy still working for those AEC guys?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, he's still trying to trail that rod.
Trail that. Oh shit.
Yes, he is still working for AC. What's up?
Okay, dude, you need to get him on the phone like right the fuck now.
Okay. I won't ask why. I'll just sort of scramble around my apartment and find my cell phone like on a desk somewhere and start dialing for him. What's going on as I'm dialing the number in?
You just need to tell him to stay the fuck away from those AEC guys, man. They are not to be trusted. Something weird is happening. I don't know exactly what. I didn't get specifics, but everyone I've heard from tells me to like stay the fuck away from those guys.
I would probably I'd probably actually hang up the phone at that. Yeah, we already know, and that's the one organization that we've heard to stay away from, but they kind of put Mason in a bind, and he's, from what I know, he kind of went into the lion's den. So unless you have some super pertinent info, I think Mason kind of already knows that they're not to be trusted, and we know that we got to get out of AEC's grasp at some point.
Okay, didn't he say he's like hunting ghosts or like working as security against ghosts for these dudes?
Yeah, but there's a little. Yeah, but he kind of owes them, and he's locked in with them now. But we're trying to figure out how to get out of that.
Okay, because dude, everybody I've spoken to has basically agreed that like if you get on AEC's bad side, they will kill you and they will make it look like an accident. Mason's in like so much danger right now.
I'll give Mason a call now that I have some new info. I don't know what timeline is or what you're doing exactly right now, Mason, but I'm giving you a call now.
Right now, he's like waiting for the half hour to pass for them to start trailing after the rot that just started walking off.
All right, so I'm giving you a call now, Mason.
Yeah. Answer. Hey, Mason here.
Actually, well, it starts ringing, and your squad leader says, like, I said radio silence for this mission. He's like, don't answer that. Turn it off. So what do you do?
Yeah, I'll sort of like hit the thing so it sort of goes to a voicemail, and then I'll sort of check to see like who called, kind of thing.
Okay. You can see that.
All right. Is there any way I can like shoot a text, like sort of hide the phone at my side, kind of like and try to type in text, like under watch, hard to talk? Or would like the glow of the screen sort of?
You can put it into your pocket and try to type and text, but the difficulty for that, it's going to be, God, what would it even be? Let's call it Dex Computer. Difficulty 10.
Difficulty 10.
Yeah, because like you're not looking at it, and Mason is already professed to not being great. Like he makes typos with this thing all the time.
Yeah.
So
all right, can I foresee myself typing into it? Use the foresee edge.
So that.
Wait, didn't I thought foresee could only be attempted once per scene?
Is it?
Yeah.
Let me check. Foresee.
Well, you foresee, and that the successes basically determines how many extra rolls you get.
But what I'm saying is, when he tried to activate it last time,
may be used to gain a number of extra rolls only once per game. Yeah.
Yeah, and he.
Does it say once per game or once per scene?
Once per game. That's all right. So I will spend a willpower then.
Okay. And you're saying it's under watch?
I'm under watch. Hard to talk.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Yeah, you're gonna need. What's your Dex Computer score?
5.
5. Oh,
hold on. It would actually be 4.
And then with this thing. All right. Let's see how many successes you get, because woof.
It's difficulty 10. So.
Sorry.
Difficulty 10, right?
Yeah.
So 1.
Yeah. You managed to type like the first string of like the first sentence doesn't really come out as much more than gibberish, but the second sentence, like hard to talk, like you managed to make it like hard and the number 2 and like the letters TK.
Mm-hmm.
So you managed to send that to him.
Okay, so I will text back. I'll text back that. So just AEC will kill you.
All right. And it is at this point like that the half hour is up, and then the squad leader says, "Move out." And then the SUV starts up, and they start slowly down the road, taking off after the rot. And you, Mason, can see the trail going pretty much straight out. So at some point, you were already planning to ditch these guys.
Yeah.
And we will figure out how you managed to do that when we come back from the break.
Cool.
Yeah, I know this is short, but honestly, like, think of this more as a continuation of the last session.
Mm-hmm.
And this is good. I hadn't even thought about you using trail, so that's good. That makes this a lot easier. But anyway, I'm gonna get to writing. Gentlemen, enjoy your Thanksgiving, and Jad, enjoy your show. Guys, if you have any questions or concerns between now and when we get back together, you can reach me through Skype. Give yourselves 4 experience points for this session.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, and if you choose to record your own POV audio log for your perspective on the nights of on the night of the imbuing, and you turn that into me, that'll be worth 8 XP.
Cool.
And also, it'd be really cool, and I would deeply appreciate it. Please and thank you.
You might want to like put in some details of like how long you
I
might want.
I will do that. I will write up a list of guidelines, and I will post it in the Skype chat.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you both. I will talk to you guys later.
Have a great night.
Later, guys. Thanks for the game.
Bye.
Later.